have you. I know you're one of our authors on the Black Writers Workspace, and yes, I take a look at those amazing covers that you have for your books. I want to put up one of them. Maybe I can get that up. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk to us about writing romance, because tonight is date night. That's what we're doing here. We've got wine. We're talking books. We're talking, laying back, winding down. It's been a tough week. I don't know about for you, but it's been hard. So,
no comment.
So the idea of being able to communicate and talk with you and learn from you, I'm excited because I write Christian fiction, I write urban fiction, and I'm always looking for unique ways to introduce a love scene, or in order to put my readers in the mood, because we are there to express passion and all types of things within our book. So tell us about yourself and tell us about your work, and I want to show the audience one of your books, but we'll get to that after you introduce yourself.
Okay, so I'm Seyna Rytes, that's my pen name. I've been living in the US for 10, 11 years now, and I'm from Senegal originally, in West Africa, and I lived in France for almost 15 years. Met my husband, who'd been living in the US much longer, and that's how I moved here. And, I always loved reading. I wrote since I was pretty young, and some of my teachers had told me, hey, you have a knack for this, you really have a skill for this, but just tried a few times to be published. But you know how traditional publishing is, they always want this long literary thing. And even the things I liked reading, there's all these books that are women's fiction, where you can find some escape, you can find some subjects that are interesting in society themes, in everyday life themes, but we are underrepresented. Black women, and I would say, just people from African descent in general, but women particularly, in our concerns, just the subjects that matter to us. So that's how the idea little by little started growing in my head. And I feel like moving to the US really made a difference, because there's just such an entrepreneurial background here. Everyone is trying to have their side hustle and their second job. And you have this whole online community that's been flourishing all over the world. We communicate, we share tips, advices, and a lot of people are very kind and helpful, and share their knowledge. So that's how it started for me. About a couple of years ago, I tried for a first time publishing a book. It didn't really take off, but I'm glad that I didn't completely drop the ball. And last holiday season actually is when I published a book that had some nice reviews on Amazon. Few purchases that were encouraging, and ever since then I've been trying to keep at it.
Yeah, this book writing thing is a lot. I think it's so great to when there are these amazing best-selling authors and everybody is reading their books, and you're seeing them everywhere, and you're like, that is so excellent. But it's when you're starting off as a new author without the mass marketing behind you, without the big publishing name behind you. I mean, you're starting at 1 and you're trying to climb to 100, and it's a long, hard climb. So I celebrate you and just congratulate you on what you've done. I've published 2 books myself, both self-published. I love to write. And like many writers, I just refuse to stop. I'm not going to wait for someone to give me permission to do my thing. I'm just going to do it. So something I read about you is that you've been reading and watching love stories all your life. What's your favorite love story?
My favorite love story. Oh, that's a very tough one. There's a movie that I always go back to. Okay, me and one of my daughters, we really like love and basketball. My oldest daughter, she says, no, you guys, this makes no sense. These people can't end up together. And me and her sister were like, no, but it's so sweet. So that's one of my favorite love stories, contemporary, modern time.
I love that. Loving basketball. That's one of my favorites.
Yes, yes.
I watch a lot. I watch a lot. And it's sad because it's just one of those things that it relaxes your mind to watch
Yes.
something that is, you know what the ending is going to be. I always say to my husband and my son, stay out the room until I see the kiss because I want to see the kiss. It's the climax of it. But let's talk about writing romance because it's tough to write romance. You have to get it
Yes.
right. Any character. Because when you're the character, you have right because the people will tell you if you're not getting
Mhm.
it right. So,
Absolutely.
what do you do? What's your steps to writing those great love scenes? And do you kind of have a process that you get yourself, or a thought process, or something that you do to get yourself in the mood in order to write and build your characters and your scenes?
That's a great question. I love the way you formulated it. You put so much into it. So I am starting to get into a process, and I think the number one thing I'm learning and trying to force myself to be consistent about is to write every day.
Yes.
Because you know, there's that getting in the zone where it just starts flowing. The story speaks to you, the characters talk to you, and it comes out, out, out. And I realize whenever I'm not writing every day, it's hard for me to get back into that zone where it just the story's alive within me and just flows naturally onto paper or screen. And about getting in the mood, it's, watch a movie, watch a show, get some inspiration with Pinterest, some pictures. Um, Whether it's a place where I'm imagining the story's taking place or what the characters look like. So really something that connects you to the story.
So you've written 5 romance novels,
Yes,
and they're all on Amazon. Is that correct?
they are. Uh-huh.
And so tell me about how has it been received by the community? And tell me about your audience, because you said something that I wanted to kind of build on, and that's the idea that as African American women, we're not represented the way,
Mhm.
as much, especially when it comes to romance. It's kind of a taboo thing, in my opinion, now, with all the Hallmark and Lifetime that I can sometimes consume, that there's just not enough there aren't enough characters that look like me.
Right.
And then if they are, it feels as if the development of that character is so forced. It's not natural.
Mhm.
And there lies the question of, why it's so hard to get the Black female woman character right. What is
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
difficult about that? We're dynamic, we're ambitious, we're outgoing, we're passionate.
Absolutely.
So when you're building those characters, it should be easier, in my opinion. So what do you do? I mean, are your characters, because I haven't read all of your books, but
Mhm.
are they warrior women? Um, Talk to us about your characters a little bit.
Okay. So my characters, as you said, they're who we are. So one thing that I've been focusing more and writing more lately is characters that are not, youngsters. These women are not high schoolers or students or just fresh out of their parents' home or starting their new job. They are women in their 30s, 40s,
Mhm.
and I feel like that subcategory is also underrepresented. And my female main characters, they're strong women. They have a strong will. They know who they are. So they usually don't take kindly to a man trying to impose on them or, just run their lives for them. So it creates an interesting dynamic between the characters of, okay, some kind of a push and pull of usually, these handsome men who just women fall at their feet, and no, this is not the one who's going to do that. So those are the kind of um, characters that speak to me and that
Mhm.
speak through me, if I can say.
Is there one character that your audience loved the most?
Ah, that's a good one because um I'm going to tell about my favorite first. My favorite, in opposition to what I was telling you, I'm focusing right now, is a younger character. She's in her early 20s. She's very quiet of nature, which doesn't mean that she's not strong-willed, but she's not just the loud and obnoxious girl. And she's been in love with her older brother's best friend most of her life, and nothing have ever happened. And when she finally decides to move on and try to give a chance to maybe someone else, things start becoming interesting. So I have really a soft spot for those stories where someone has set their mind on a person, on a dream, and you root for them. You really want to see them succeed. You want to see the connection happen. And I think my latest story has been pretty well received. And the character in this book, she's a med school student, so not that young, because she's doing her specialty years. And same, she's met this other med school student from her first year, and they've been best friends forever. Nothing ever happened, and she doesn't think that he sees her as something other than a friend. But little does she know.
That's great. I think I asked you too many questions at one time. So I started with the marketing. I want to go back to that, and then I want to show that book that you just mentioned. I love your covers, but let's talk about the marketing for your book. How is everything going with it? And do you use any type of unique strategies to get the word out about your book?
That's interesting, because I am active on social media to a certain extent. The one I'm the most active on is Facebook. I have a Facebook group. I post almost every day just under my author name and profile. If I have a new book or if I'm doing a promo, I will post it in different groups. For instance, next week for Veterans Day, I have a book that has a main character that's retired Navy. So I'm going to put that book for free for Veterans Day. And just try to connect with the audience is what I do. I have little success with ads. I've tried Facebook ads. I've tried Amazon ads. What I've seen that generated sales has been being featured maybe in newsletters. There's a Facebook group called I Love Diverse Romance, and I know they have a pretty long list of recipients. So yeah, I keep trying different things, and some work better than others.
That's great. That is great. I think let's see if we have any questions to come in from anyone who may want to chat with you, and we can. Let's see. That would be great if we did. If not, then we will continue to talk, because I'm so interested in romance, simply because I feel like a good book, any book, whether it's mystery, crime, urban fiction, fantasy, that there should always be a romance component.
There's an element, yes.
Yes. I think it makes the story real. And most stories do have that. Even when we are watching movies about aliens, where there's a love story embedded in that. How's your family feel about you writing romance? And I ask this question for a number of reasons. When you're writing a book, the people around you can sometimes worry that the book is going to expose something about them. And you do build your characters around people that you know. I mean, they may not be exactly like them, but they influence how you create and how you develop your characters. So how does your family feel about you writing romance?
I think it's mitigated because, for instance, my husband, his big worry is don't write anything that's too explicit. And I'm saying, but these stories, they come to me the way they do, and some of them are very sweet, and everything happens behind closed doors, and others are much more, for a mature audience. So it's I think they're proud of me. They're happy for me because they know it's important to me and I love it, and it's really a passion. But the content, as you were saying, for different reasons, can be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that for all books. I wrote my first book, a Christian novel, and I remember someone a family member walking up to me and saying, "Am I in the book?" And I hadn't even thought about it that way. I was really, almost put off because I didn't know what to say. And I was like, no, but I didn't realize that there is always the feeling that you're going to expose something. And
Mhm.
as writers, you do expose things because you build characters, you build plots, you build scenarios, sometimes around things that you've experienced. That's very common.
Exactly.
So, but
Yeah.
if you're like me, you got to write it. So it's kind of, I'll just say, I'm
You don't
sorry.
have
I'm
a
not going to
choice.
expose too much, but I got to write it. So, see,
Mhm.
Seyna, I'm going to see if we have any questions. If not, thank
Okay.
you so much for coming
Thank
on and being
you.
a part of the Black Writers, the Black Ink Book Fair, and being a member of the Black Writers Workspace.
That's
I
my
wanted to
pleasure.
put your book up so that people can see it.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm hearing that I've got a question on here. Let's see. Who is your favorite romance writer? Someone
Oh,
wants to know.
that's a super tough one. So there's this author that I really love who writes African American romance. That's Alexandria House. I really, really like her books. They're so much fun, and there's the sexy side, there's the emotions, and they laugh out loud. So I also like. There's a variety of other. I was just rereading one of Mariana Zapata's book. She
Mhm.
writes these how can I say, these slow burn novels. They're super long, and the characters are just building their relation for hundreds of pages. So,
Oh, I
yeah, those
love
are some
that.
of my favorite authors.
And another question for you. What is the name of the Navy book that will be free on Veterans Book on Veterans
That's a
Day?
great question. It's called Mad Dog, and
Mad
it's a
Dog.
yes, it's a black woman, white man interracial romance, and Mad Dog is actually his war name. So this poor guy, he get injured in combat, so he's still working within the Navy administration, and he the main character, the main female character, she works with him. He's actually her supervisor, and he's just closed off. She doesn't understand. 3, 4 years they've been working together, not a smile, not a kind word, and she's like, okay, but he's very handsome, and she has a little bit of a crush on him until we discover why he's been so closed off, and things start getting interesting.
Oh,
So
my husband
get
is
ready for next week.
yeah, my husband is a retired
Oh,
military officer, so
okay.
I'm gonna pull that one out. I'm gonna get a copy of that so I can take a look at it.
I hope you
Let's see.
enjoy
I
it.
love that. Let's see if we have any more questions. Some good comments here. People are excited that you're here.
No, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
I learned today that Stacey Abrams out of Atlanta, who has been, a an amazing contributor to what is happening in Georgia with
Yes.
voting and getting people out to vote, who also ran for
Hmm.
governor, that she is
Hmm.
also a romance novelist.
Oh my God.
And I am just so blown away. I didn't get a chance to read up more
Mm.
about her books, but she has several books. And, I just, when I read that, it just made me realize I always believe that writers are just some of the most insightful people ever. And I'm not saying that because I write, but,
No,
or
no,
I'm trying to
it
sound
takes
arrogant. I'm just
vision
saying,
and perspective, and it takes
you
something
have,
special. Yeah.
yes, you have to
We
see,
all have something special, but our something special
yes.
translate into these. Yeah.
It is. And if you can write, there's so many other things that you can do. I mean,
Mhm.
you're an innovator, you're creative. And when I heard that about her and everybody is just applauding her effort in, getting the black vote out in Georgia, and she deserves
Absolutely.
all the accolades for it, but when I read that she's a writer, I'm like, I'm loving her all over again.
And this is the thing, romance is just like the poor child of literature. And I remember when I wasn't writing, as a mom, as a wife, as even someone who works long hours, this moment where you're going to disconnect and just relax with a good book that's going to entertain you and just be fun, I think it's important.
Mhm. Yes, it is very important. Let me see if we have any questions.
Okay.
Um, Just more comments. Just happy to see you here. So, Seyna, thank you
Oh,
so much
I'm
for
very
joining
happy to
us.
be here. Thank
And
you
we're
very
going to
much.
continue to connect with you on the Black Writers Workspace. And we are excited about all of your books. I'm going to put up one of your books so that people can see
Thank
how
you.
amazing your covers are. Continue to write. Don't stop. Never stop writing. And we hope
Yes,
to connect with
hopefully.
you again. So I'm just going to put a pause up from you and I so we can show your book and
Okay.
make sure that everyone will take a little time and go and see it. Take a look at it. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you,
today.
Michelle. Thank you. I'll
Okay.
see you online. Bye. Thank you so
Bye
much for
bye.
having me. Bye, everyone.
So everyone, once again, another just a great writer. We're so happy that she was able to join us to talk about romance. I love romance. Like I said, this is date night, but it's not over yet. We also have the ladies from Bliss Books and Wine and KC Wine Works who will be on the screen very soon to talk about their book and wine pairing. So please take time to go and get a glass of wine. And you may want to take notes because they're going to talk about some books that are bestsellers, that are just really hot right now. And what wine do you need to drink with that book? And I'm going to be giving away a bottle of wine from KC Wine Works, as well as a tumbler from Bliss Books and Wine. And so we have a question that's going to be at the bottom of the screen. You would need to take a look at that question and send me the answer to my email. The first one who answers the question correctly, you will receive a bottle of wine if we can ship it to you, depending on what state you're in. So several of those states will allow us to ship wine to you. If not, you'll definitely get that tumbler. And it's an amazing tumbler, and you'll see that in a minute. So we're going to take a break here and come back very, very soon with the ladies from the wine and book pairing. And it's going to be exciting. So I'll see you at